Baz is right. We were allowed to love Australia all the way up until about the Sydney Olympics.
Yeah.
And that seemed to be around about the turning point. I don't think the Olympics were the cause of the turning point, but it was around about then. It was in there somewhere where all of a sudden we made room. We apologized for the first time to the woke mob. And, we've talked about this before. You never apologize. You don't negotiate with terrorists. You don't apologize to the woke mob. And the reason they are the same thing, by the way, for those that haven't heard me talk about this before, the reason we don't negotiate with terrorists is because they're not looking for a settlement. They will take everything you give them today, and then they will use that as leverage to come back for more later.
Correct.
There is no making peace with them. The same is true of the woke mob. The reason you never cave to the woke mob is because even if it gives you a temporary reprieve, which is no guarantee it will only be a temporary reprieve at best, because they will come back for more. Their appetite is insatiable. At some point around about the Sydney Olympics time, around about year 2000, we as a country, as a culture, apologized to the woke mob for the first time. And it has all been downhill ever since then.
Yeah, there's definitely been, I remember I was at high school the early 2000s, right? I think I graduated 2003. And in those last couple of years, there was definitely that little conversation around, look what we did to the Aboriginals. We're terrible people. And it was starting then. And it's interesting because people think woke started like the pandemic. No, it's insidious. It's been growing like black mold for the last couple of decades, and it went unchecked. And you guys have heard me make this point 100 times, but we have to take back the institutions. And I know people are like, I don't want to go to uni. I'm not saying you, but this is where it started. Like,
should we have our glasses ready? Are we about to have to drink?
I wasn't going to say it. I was talking in a broader sense, but I can say it if you.
No, fine.
I can say it if you. Okay. No, all right. I'll give you an example. No, I'll do it. I know you guys all need an excuse to drink, so I will give it to you. So I got my exegesis read by a professor at a different university, and I just wanted someone with a master's. There you go. You good, everyone? Go. I just wanted his take, right? I just wanted someone else's eyes on it because it's a contentious topic. There's two contentious things about it. One, I'm going up against feminism. Two, I'm going up against AI. I'm pro AI, right? So I'm literally going into the lion's den. You don't touch the sacred cow, and feminism is a sacred cow. And here I am, gentlemen in the chat. I am arguing for you guys. Like, I am going into bat for men, right? And I know that paper is going to get me in trouble. And the second thing to that is, as a creative, me being pro AI is like, I'm going to basically start World War III. And so if I'm going to put a paper like that out there, an academic paper, I need to know that, as like content aside, it works perfectly in the academic sense, right? Like my opinions aside. And so I just wanted to make sure like it was formatted correctly, the right words, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, he wrote back and he said, this is a great paper. And he's like, I definitely believe you are contributing to the conversation, but I just want to warn you, if you publish this, it will cause you some distress. And I was like, brilliant. Because like, let's do it. Let's go. So I'm going to put it out there and start the conversation, but that's what it takes. It's not about abandoning these places. It's about going, how can we, in whatever capacity as an individual, start to take that space back a bit? Like on Australia Day, go and celebrate Australia Day. Go and wear your Australian flag. It's like it's a way of protesting that's not, holding the CBD to ransom. Me going to university and doing what I've always wanted to do. This isn't a new thing. I've always wanted to do this. And now that I'm doing it on my terms, my way. Yes, there's friction. Yes, there's people biting back. But, someone has to go first. Someone has to bulldoze through.
And you didn't go there to just fit in and become one of them. You went there to push yourself and to sharpen your ideas in order to contribute. And that's what universities have historically been for, is for people like you who want to get in there and disagree and debate and get pushed and get better. And you went in there with that objective, but clearly that doesn't really fit in that environment anymore.
Well, this is what Charlie Kirk was doing, right? And this is why they hated him so much. As you said previously, he was giving them the microphone. He was encouraging those people to the conversation. And my biggest concern, and this is kind of what I've been alluding to all night, my biggest concern is we're going to shut the conversation down going, no, you've had your turn. It's our go. right? And whether it's the right, the conservatives, whatever you want to call it, the opposite to the progressive left are going to go, no, shut up. You've had your go. It's our go. And that's not the right way either. There needs, there needs to be an olive branch at some point. And some of these people just genuinely need someone to have a conversation with. And I know this because for the most part, like, I don't know about you. I mean, you've got a bit more of a recognizable face than me. But when I go into my uni lectures or different locations, I'm not saying, hey, I'm Carl's the libertarian. Hi, I have a podcast. Like, for the most part, I don't say a bloody word. I don't bring up politics. And yet I can tell you now, when you're in these chats, the leftists do. Like, within a second, they'll say that, Trump's big bad Hitler and, that's the same tropes that they roll out.
That's your sashes.
So what's funny about this?
They've got to advertise their 100%. Sashes.
100%. Like, I honestly, I thought this was the funniest thing when we went back to the last trimester. That the next recruit of people were in there, and you sort of go around and introduce yourselves. And this woman, exactly what you expected her to look like all the things. The first thing out of her mouth was, I'm here for the queer people because, as you guys know, we have Trump in and fascism is taking over. And I was like, yes, that is very on brand. You look like the stereotype. You guys don't like stereotypes, but boy, do you know how to look like them.
Now, there's
the reason I bring that up. Sorry, go.
No, you finish that. We need to get across to a super chat here before somebody completely drains their bank account. But finish your point, and then we've got to rescue this person.
Yeah. So my point with that was, like, I don't go out there saying I'm a conservative, I like Trump, whatever, until they get to know me a bit. And then they might ask a question and I give, like, not deliberately, not to antagonize them, but I give them like a little bit more of a centrist or, more right-leaning answer. And they go, oh, is that how you feel? I'm like, yeah. But they already know that, like, I'm a nice person. I've been courteous. I'm, like, nice to have a conversation with. And then the politics comes out. And it's really interesting because that's how you have the conversation. You don't go in there trying to fight them because you're never going to get the result. That's what Charlie Kirk did. And that's what Dave Rubin did. And that's what's lacking at the moment. I would have hoped that more people try to come into Charlie's space and going, hey, he set the precedent. Let's see what we can do. But I feel like we're seeing the opposite.
Look, give it some time. There will be people. Charlie was already an outlier. Charlie was not one of many. The reason why he had such an impact and why his death had such an impact was because he was so unique in what he did. And I did a video breaking that down, exactly what you've been talking about. He would meet people where they were at. He would look for the moment where he could say, I agree. And he would drill deeper and deeper down into their why. Why do you care about this? What is it, until he would find a point of agreement? Because ultimately, most people, not everybody, but the vast majority of people in the end actually just want life to be better. And they care about others. They care about themselves. They care about their kids. They care about people they see as being marginalized or victimized. And so he would look for that point where he could say, I agree. And then he would work from there. But also, what you just said is exactly why it's so important and it's so pleasing to me that the March for Australia people are now being recognized as having not been the troublemakers, because they are breaking people's ideas and stereotypes of who's who and how they behave and all of that. And all it would have taken was for a small number of them to get hot under the collar and go and do something stupid, and that whole narrative would have been ruined. But none of them did. And
which is great. I think
it's so good. It's so good, and just massive credit to them.
I think they've learned, starting to learn how to not play the system. That's the wrong way of saying it, but they've learned how to show up, right? Which is great. It's like a maturation of them protesting, which is good.
And look, it took us 9 months to get discipline in the ranks of the anti-lockdown protests. Right. And the movement didn't grow until we got that discipline. It was once we actually had that discipline in the ranks and people began to streamline their message, get rid of the messages that were just muddying the waters, get rid of the real ratbag behavior, that's when we actually started to see some growth.
Well, you've survived another episode and you're still here watching. So at this point, you should probably go and subscribe. And if you don't, you are going to be at the wrath of Spicy Carls. And whilst you're there, empty your pockets. There's a buy us a coffee button, and would really appreciate it so that I can show up every day and just make Topher's life an absolute living hell. Much appreciated.